Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do.
Just what to do, just what to do.
If what you're feeling is really true.
Is really true, is it really true?
Just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geri Petito Show. Everyone and anyone who knows me knows I am the author of I'm Not an Addict, I'm Just an Ass. I'd rather be a smartass than a dumbass, guys, because 32 years ago, I was a dumbass, but today, 32 years later, through the grace of God, I can honestly say now, I'm a smartass. And yes, the word ass is in the Bible, at least 40 times, and it means donkey, and that's what I was. I'm saying all that to say this. You know, we've all had the roughest few years of our lives, right? All over the world, not just here. And unfortunately, too many people didn't make it, and a lot through addiction. I am here to help you. Please, please know someone is listening. Guys, listen, I'm a recovery coach. I'm a nutritional health coach. All my services to you are free, okay? If you think my book can help someone, because I sure do, you can go right to Simon & Schuster's bookstore, Archway Publishing, BAM, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can go to my website, www.geripetito.com. And if you truly, truly, truly cannot afford my book, please, please reach out to me about that as well. I'm really here to help you. So I want to give a shout out to just a couple of my sponsors today, which I feel is appropriate for this show here. Okay? All right. So Paula Ann from Ablaze Entertainment and Freedom Rings Festival, helping survivors of human trafficking to live a life of normalcy. You can go to her website, www.freedomringsfestival.com. And the Geri Petito Show is also a sponsor of theirs. Anthony Hudson, presidential candidate 2024, and Kevin Duncan, vice presidential candidate 2024, People Before Politics. And guys, I don't usually get involved with the political realm, but I made an exception here because they're nonpartisan. That's first and foremost, okay? They flew in from Michigan a few times to be in my studio live. We've done commercials for them. And then one of the producers here, Ruben, and I were invited to cover the story at the borders in Yuma, Arizona with them. And we spent 5 days at all the borders. And we were with Border Patrol and the Sheriff Department. And if anybody wants to talk to me about that, please reach out, okay? Because we need to make changes here. Okay, guys? So one more I'm going to mention. John Monforto, the man of many faces, singer, actor, celebrity impersonator, and tribute artist. And here's the thing. He was given a title by a former Philadelphia mayor as the Phillies Rocky impersonator. Okay? Yes. And his website is www.johnmonforto.com. He does over 30, 40 different characters, but he is Rocky. Okay, so check him out and you won't believe it, all right? And he did meet Sylvester Stallone as well, okay? So John Monforto. So guys, you know I always bring it, right? Well, I am really bringing it here for us today because I have a beautiful lady here that I would like to share this incredible story with you, okay? So let me introduce her first and foremost, Marlyn Bandiero. Say hello to everyone.
Hello everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Oh, I'm honored. I'm honored. You know, Marlyn, why don't you start? Take the mic and just tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
I am a screenwriter by trade, but I ventured into the children's book arena, and I've written 2 children's books. I'm here to introduce my second one. The first one is called Dante's Cool Wheels, which came out 2 years ago. And the second one is book 2, and it's called Achieve, Believe. And yeah, I'm excited to be here.
So, all right. So, your book is, first of all, the cover of your book is absolutely incredible. All right. So, people have been messaging me and they've been saying, like, is this really her dog? And I'm like, yes, it really is. And they all want to know what happened and all that. So, tell everybody, first of all, a little bit about the cover of the book, 'cause I just love it.
Well, yes, it's inspired by my actual dog, whose name is Dante. He was a German Shepherd, 14 and a half years old. And when he was 6, he had a stroke and lost the use of his back legs. And we tried all types of therapy and nothing worked. And then one day we got a wheelchair and he just thrived. It was like he had his legs back, but they were wheels. And he had a great life. And all the time I used to get people, whenever they would see him walking, he had this aura about him. He would just trot, as if he was, hey, I'm just like all other dogs. And people would just come up to us and say, wow, your dog inspires me. Look at him. He's so happy. He's amazing. He does so well in his wheelchair. And I just kept thinking, wow, what a great inspirational story to write. So I just sat down one day and I wrote book 1, which is basically his story, but for children. And then I said, the story can't end. I've got to continue the message. So I wrote book 2, which introduces another character into the mix. And it's really about, if you believe you can do something, you will achieve it. You just have to truly believe you can do it. And that's how Dante was. He believed he could walk and play and run and do everything that all other dogs could do. And he did it. So that's just the message I'm carrying on.
I have a really silly question for you, okay? And I'm sure you've been asked this,
Okay.
but okay, so I mean, I know we can't really get into the minds of our pets, of a dog. I mean,
Right. Sure.
okay, but you know where I'm going with this then. So, like, do you think he knew he was different? And, what do you think, just from the way he was with you?
I think dogs know when there's something different because other dogs responded to him. And that's in the first book, actually. Other dogs, when they saw him in the wheelchair, they were afraid. They were afraid of him. They would bark and they would try to attack him. They sensed something was different. So I think they sense it, but that doesn't stop them.
Okay.
It does. They sense, well, I don't have my legs, I have wheels, but that doesn't stop them. So that's the message, basically. So what? So you have wheels. It shouldn't stop you from doing anything you want to do.
Okay, so he interacted just fine with the other dogs on the playground and all that.
Just fine. If there was a dog that wasn't afraid of him and wanted to play, he would play. I would throw the ball. He would run after the ball. He'd grab the ball. He'd bring it back. The other dogs would play. He had no problem. And if the dog was not afraid of him, they would play like nothing. Like he was an absolutely normal dog.
So now, what about, say you're on a playground and there's other dogs, but then there's little kids. How did they react to Dante?
Children were fascinated by him. I mean, fascinated
Yes.
by him. Wherever there was a kid and he saw Dante, they would run over to him. And they want to know what happened, if he was okay. And kids could also be very compassionate. They'd always ask, is he in pain? I said, no, not at all. He's not in pain. He's just like, if you were in a wheelchair, you're fine, And yeah, he would let them pet him, or he would play with them. Kids were always just absolutely fascinated by him.
Did you ever bring him to maybe children's hospitals where other children were in wheelchairs? Did that ever occur?
I thought about it,
Okay.
but he was an 82-pound German Shepherd.
Okay.
He was not easy to bring
Gotcha.
around. It took a while, it took a second to get him into his
Gotcha.
wheelchair. And it was not as easy as having a little dog in a wheelchair
Gotcha.
to like take everywhere. And I know that there are sanitary issues in hospitals and stuff. So and I think you also have to be certified
Okay.
as a service dog or certified as a special dog to go into hospitals.
Okay.
But didn't matter. He did his job out on the street. It was as if he was in a hospital with just people in general.
Did he ever encounter a child in a wheelchair?
Yes, he
Okay.
did.
How did
Yes,
that
he
go?
did. Actually, the child encountered him first.
Yes,
The
okay.
child saw him from far away
Okay.
and was fascinated by him. And then one day, walking on the street with Dante, the little boy was there with his mom, and that was the first time they met. And it was emotional. It was very touching. He was so happy to see him, and it was really rewarding.
I'm sure it
And in
almost.
fact,
Go ahead.
that story is in the first book,
Okay.
that how they met, and then I continue the story in the second book.
So I mean, I'm assuming, that it made that child feel normalized.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, that by seeing, even though he was a dog, by
Yep.
seeing the dog in the wheelchair and how he just walked around like nothing, it made him, I think, feel like a bit normal.
Yep.
There's somebody else is like me,
Yes.
and I think it helped him a great deal. Yes.
Yep. I'm sure it did. So now, did you have any other pets around him in your home?
No, he was plenty.
He was plenty, yes.
He was plenty. Yes. No. We've
Okay.
had other dogs in the past, but no. Dante was our only pet.
Yes. So that's so cool. I love what you've done with this.
Thank you.
I do,
Thank
from
you.
the bottom of my heart, because it's, all right, so it's emotional, it's
Mhm.
encouraging, it's insightful, and it just gives parents even hope. So it's a children's book, but it's really for parents as well.
Yes.
Yes, it gives them
Yeah.
hope.
Yes, and actually, I've read my book to so many kids in schools throughout the New York and New Jersey area, and children are always fascinated and love to hear the story, but so do the teachers. And the teachers always come back to me and say, "There's so many messages in this book that we could just go on and talk about with the kids." And even parents that would read to their children with their children the book, they would always say, there's so much to learn, not just for children, but for adults too, because it's really about acceptance of people who are different, and also just never giving up, perseverance, just having that gumption to just never give up. So it's a message both for children and for adults.
So where did you grow up?
I grew up in New York City. I grew up in Washington Heights.
Okay.
I am of Cuban descent. I was born in Cuba, but I
Oh,
was raised in the United States. Grew up speaking Spanish and English and having friends from everywhere, Cuban, American, Italian, everything. I was multinational area where I grew up.
yep.
Um,
So I grew up in Long Island City, New York, in Queens.
okay.
And on 42nd Street, okay, 7th Avenue and 42nd Road, actually. My
Sure.
dad owned our six-family apartment building, so we're Italian. So, of course, my grandmother was downstairs, my aunt was upstairs, Across the street, my other aunt, all that. My best friend was Cuban. Titi Canal.
Wow.
Yep, the Canal family. And they
Wow.
lived down the block. And then my mom's best friend was Puerto Rican, and she lived that way on the block. And we loved Spanish food. My brother marries a Puerto Rican girl 30 years ago who cannot cook. We were so happy. I'm a chef. I'm a vegan chef, actually. So I had to make
Okay.
her rice and beans and all that. Okay, imagine. But we grew up the same way. But I'm bringing this up because my mom's best friend, she ended up losing both her daughters. Her husband was from Puerto Rico, and he went back to Puerto Rico they got divorced. We were out of there. I was older, and the one daughter died of addiction, and they had a daughter in a wheelchair my whole life. That's the only, that's the only
Wow.
way I knew Darlene. She was in a wheelchair, and
Wow.
she was the happiest kid. She was out playing, watching everybody play ball and being part of. They would throw the ball to her, and we were young. I moved out of there when I was only 12, and I just remember her as just being one of the happiest kids. And when I saw the cover of your book, it brought me back to that with her, and I just smiled. It just made me smile.
Well, that's why after the first book, I thought about, well, what do I want the second book to be about? And I figured I need to continue the story that was brought up in the first book, which is this with the little boy in the wheelchair. But now I introduce his sister, who's not in a wheelchair, and she's part of the gang as well. So you have disabled, but you also have kids that are not in the story. You have both, because that's the way it should be. You should be able to see everyone as the same, because we're essentially all the same. A wheelchair should not make a difference. So that's why now I introduce other characters as well into the book. And yeah, a little boy that inspired the story is now a very, very, very happy young man. And it's all, I think, how you see it, how you put in your mind, I am just like everybody else. I can achieve things that I want to do, and then you can do it. And that's the lesson of the book. And that's why I called it Believe, Achieve.
So, I'm a recovery coach, and I work with a lot of families, and a lot of them have already lost their children, and some haven't. And I always try to help their children as well, young adults. And I always say that to them, like, you can be anything you want.
Yes.
And what it's so crazy, because what we tell ourselves about ourselves, we become that. We believe that.
Mhm.
And it just takes
You're
like this
all-
switch.
You're only limited by your belief.
There you go.
That's your only limitation. And that's very important to start teaching children from a very, very young age. That if you believe you can do it, you will achieve it. You just have to truly say, I can. It's very important to teach very young children that lesson.
So, all right. Someone's listening right now that I'm sure needs to hear something encouraging from you, right? What will it take to make that switch? If they're not feeling it, how, and they're saying that's impossible, it's easier said than done. What advice would you give them?
Just do it. When I first started writing, at first I had so many doubts. For example, my very first screenplay, I had so many doubts. I had never written a screenplay. And I thought that was such a monumental task to write a screenplay. And then one day I sat down in front of my computer and I said, you know what? I have nothing to lose. I'm going to do it. And I just started typing and I started writing. And was everything great? No, I had to fix a lot, but I had it down on paper. And I realized, wow, wait a second. I think I can do this. And then I wrote some more, and then I wrote some more, and it just evolved, and I would fix it and write and keep writing and keep writing. And before I knew it, I had written a screenplay. And then I said, wow, I did it. But I initially didn't think I could. But as long as you just do it. If you sit and you start to think, well, I've never done this before. If you start putting doubts in your mind, you're never going to do it. So my advice is just do it. Whatever it is you want to do, just go do it. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. I mean, that would be my advice. And in fact, in the second book, you'll see that's exactly what Dante tells the little boy. Just do it. You think you want to do this? Just go do it. And he does. And he ends up doing it.
What do you have to lose? I've lived my life
Exactly.
by that. my dad, my poor dad, God rest his soul, he was from Italy, and, they were hard workers, and everything had to be, you have to do it this way, and I was just the opposite. I
Yeah.
wanted to go to art school, he would shake his head, all right, and I went to art,
Mm.
my, the way, I don't even know where I came from, to be honest with you, as far as that, because they were so regimented, and I just wasn't. And I wish everybody could understand that everyone has a talent, and they
Yes,
just need to
yes,
utilize it.
yes. It was the same idea when I had the idea of writing a children's book. I had never written a children's book. I don't have children. So I figured, how do I do this? So what did I do? I just, you know what? One day sat in front of my computer and said, how do I do this? I started researching. I took a course online. I started reading children's books. I went to the library and I started reading as many as I could. And I figured, you know what? I can do this. I can do this. And I sat down and I wrote the first story. It's a matter of just taking that first step and just putting yourself out there, pushing yourself to get started. That's the hardest part, getting started. But if you can just get started and get over that little hurdle, if you love something, you're just going to continue to get better and better and better at it.
And it's okay if it takes a long time. Who cares, right?
Exactly.
Who cares?
Exactly. It doesn't matter. If you love something, it's just doing it should bring you joy. And it doesn't matter how long it takes. Just continue to do it. If it makes you happy, if it's your desire, your wish, just do it. Go out there. And don't listen to people. Oh, it's the worst thing. It's to listen to people that say, you can't do it. You've never done anything like this. Don't. I know someone who tried it and it didn't work. Don't listen to people. It's the worst. That's one thing I hear from my husband all the time. Don't listen. Just block out the noise and just go forward with what you want to do.
Tell everyone who your husband is.
My husband is Al Bandiero, who is an amazing actor, producer, host, media personality, radio personality. And I get a lot of this oomph from him because he's very much like that.
Don't listen to people.
Don't listen to people. Nope, don't. That's my number one advice. Block out the noise. But you know how they put those blinders on horses when they run?
Yes.
That's exactly what you have to do. You have to put blinders on and just go forward. And you know what? If you trip a couple of times, it's fine. You'll learn. You learn from those little mistakes. Boy, when I was writing the first book, did I learn? I learned so much because I self-published. So I had to learn how to basically assemble a book, put it together, get it ready for printing. I mean, and I had never done anything like that before. So I made a couple of little errors here and there, and it took me a while. But you know what? I did it. I just said I'm going to do it, and I did it. Now I have my second one out. So
I'm going to make you laugh. So,
okay.
all right, in 2016, I have a very strong faith in God. And I always laugh and say, God cannot whisper in my ear. He's got to knock me over the head. All right, Jerry. My email is WWJD, Jerry. What would Jesus do, Jerry? Because he keeps me grounded. I always say he keeps me
Okay.
from slapping people, okay? I'm an Italian New Yorker, you know what I mean? But, so I was woken up in the middle of the night I heard, write your book. So I laughed, and I said, oh, you want me to write my book? I said, all right, I'll write my book. I don't know why I'm writing it now, but okay. So I called my brother to take care of my dad. My dad had Alzheimer's, so we were taking care of him. And I said, all right, you're on dad duty this month. I said, I'm going to fast because I also fast a month every year. He's like, okay, but I didn't tell anyone, not my daughter, I was writing a book. I hand wrote it because, Marlyn, I'm not good with technology. And I've had some
Right.
poems in the past published, and you would send them to the company. You would mail them. So
And they would do that work. Sure,
yes.
yes.
So I'm like, I don't know how to. So I hand wrote this book. It was done in 3 weeks, but I say God wrote it, and I mean that. God wrote the
Wow.
book. So I called my brother and I was like, all right, listen, I wrote a book. He's like, yeah, I wrote a book. So I had to call a friend of mine whose uncle was a publisher, and I said, please come help me. So she got it on there, and we sent it to Simon and Schuster. But I can't self-publish. Forget that. Anyway, you know, people laugh and they say to me, Jer, did you really hear that voice? Oh, not only did I really hear that voice, I didn't know it, but this book was to save 2 family members in the next 3 months once it was published. And they will
Wow.
tell you they didn't let go of my book. And that's another story. We'll get into I'll share that with you off
Wow.
the air. You won't believe it. So anyway,
Wow.
so even if you guys have to handwrite it like I did, okay? Just do it. Like she's saying, just do it.
Just do it.
And even if you make mistakes, who cares? You'll fix them mistakes. It doesn't
Exactly.
matter.
Doesn't
Because,
matter.
yeah, you'll always regret what you didn't try to do.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right?
No, I have a lot of people that come up to me and say, I've always wanted to write. I've always wanted to write a screenplay, or I've always wanted to write a book. I don't know. I don't know where to begin. I said, just begin. Sit down on your computer and start typing. You don't know what may come out. And if it's not great, so what? Go back and fix it. But just sit down and do it. I don't understand the concept of wanting to do something, but not trying to do it. If you want to do something, why wouldn't you at least try to do it? Again, and I said it before, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. So that's why I tell everyone, why are you telling me? Go home. Go home and start doing it. There's no excuses. No excuses. And that is hopefully what my books will teach children and adults. No excuses. If you want to do something, you go forward and you do it. Like a bull in a china closet, you go forward. You teach children to not only accept other children for their differences, but to never give up and to move forward. And my second book, Believe and Achieve. It's the motto that, I said, my husband lives by, I live by. We have a production company. We make movies and films, and that's our motto. We are always moving forward. We always have some project in various stages of development. I'm always thinking of scripts to write, other stories to tell. My husband is fantastic with visualizing things. So it's just do it, never stop.
Well, after the holidays, I'm going to reach out to you because I'm thinking about doing something with this book. And I would
Okay.
love to talk to you guys about it. So that would be
Absolutely.
great. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Definitely.
what about all your, you have a website, social media? Tell everybody how they can reach
Yes.
out to you guys.
So we have a website. Our production company is becauseIcanproductions.com. Again, becauseIcanproductions.com. Always positive. And my books are, you can follow Dante's Cool Wheels, both on Facebook and Instagram. There you will find all the stories, both books, the first book and the second book, which are both available on Amazon. Dante's Cool Wheels Book 1 is available now. Dante's Cool Wheels Book 2, Believe, Achieve, will be available on Friday as well on Amazon. And you could always just email me at dantescoolwheels@gmail.com.
That's so cool. So I'm going to give the mic to you. Talk about anything you want to talk about. I don't want you to say, oh, I forgot to say this, or I wanted to talk about this. The mic is yours.
Okay, well, I hope parents, and even if you don't have children, but if you have nieces and nephews, or if you have children in your neighborhood that pick up Dante's Cool Wheels. Pick up both books. And not just because I'm selling it, but because it's truly a really great message. It's a great message for children and for adults. And every kid that sees Dante as a cartoon just falls in love with him. And it's also important to tell them that this is a real dog. These were real people. And that this story takes place every day around the world. And I I hope it teaches them something, and I hope it inspires them, and I'm trying to spread the love, basically, that my dog spread to everybody.
So now I want to ask you something. So Dante had a stroke back then. So
Yes.
do you know what caused it?
Yes, technical. He had something called a fibrocarticulous embolism,
Okay.
which is it's just cartilage in his spine that dislodges. It causes swelling, and that's what causes the stroke. Um, Most dogs recover. About 80% of dogs recover with therapy. Unfortunately, his stroke was very severe. And even though we tried all types of therapy, I mean, every type of therapy you can think of, he was never able to recover the use of his back legs again.
Okay.
But like I said before, didn't stop him.
No, but I
Did
feel
not
like
stop him.
there was a reason for it. This wouldn't
You
have
know,
happened.
it's funny you say that,
Yes.
because when it first happened, he was a champion. He came from a champion bloodline. His parents were champions, and he was in fact being trained to eventually compete as well. And when this happened to him, my husband and I, we were just, why him? Why this amazing dog who just looks so healthy and is such a good dog? And we kept breaking our brains. Why him? Why us? Oh, all this stuff you keep asking. But as time passed on, and more people would approach us and tell us how much he was inspiring to them, and we had all these amazing stories. And I'll just tell you one quick story, and this happened to my husband. He was walking Dante in the park, and the same park that he would walk every day. And one day, this man stopped him. The man was sitting on a bench, and he stopped him, and he said, "I'm sorry. I just need to tell you how much your dog has meant to me." And my husband was like, surprised. What do you mean? He's like, "Well, you see, I had a son who was tragically killed in a car accident. And he was the only one killed in the car. All his friends survived. And he was my only son. And after that happened, I couldn't conceive of living, of moving on with life. And every day I would come to the park and I'd sit here and I would contemplate ending my life. But every day I would see you walking your dog, walking him in his wheelchair. Or I would see you, or I guess your wife would walk them. And he gave me something. He gave me like the bolt of happiness every day when I would see him. And I decided, you know what? No, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go on. And he also inspired me to do this. And he pointed down underneath the bench, and there was a puppy. He adopted a little dog, and that was his companion. And it was just stories like that. Trust me, that's not the only story.
Yeah, I'm
We
sure.
have so many stories.
I'm sure.
So that inspired me to write the book. And it also, I kept saying, well, maybe that's why this happened to Dante. Because look how many people he inspired. And who knows, he might have saved lives.
That's right.
So maybe that's why it happened.
So I'm a firm believer that is why it happened. Because, see, all right, like even me with the addiction, right? My
Right.
daughter honored me with a speech at an award I was given, and I was crying. I had no idea what she was going to put in this speech. And she said, "Don't ever say my mother made any mistakes. My mother didn't do anything wrong because God used everything that went on back then to make my mom now be able to save lives." So I believe that God had a plan for Dante, and look where it's brought you,
Yes.
and how many
Yes.
people you're helping. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
that's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I also wanted to take that, I don't want to call it a tragedy because it wasn't a tragedy. Uh, I wanted to take that experience, and I wanted to use that experience to help people the way you wrote your book from your experience. I wanted to take that and I wanted to
Yeah.
pass it on to other people for them to get something as well. People who didn't meet Dante but are meeting him now through the books and through his Facebook page and his Instagram account. And yeah, it's the same as what happened with you. Yeah.
It's amazing. I'm going to read a poem out of my book, but I want to share something about a different poem in my book based on something you keep saying, just do it. I have a
Right.
poem in here, I'm not going to read that one, called Face It Till You Make It, not Fake It Till You
Oh,
Make It, okay? Because I feel the same way as you do. You know, when I heard you say it the way you said it with that passion, just do it. Sometimes I'm a little rough around the edges, and I will say to people, just get off your butt right now and just do it. But you said it very nicely, but to the point. But I want to
yeah.
read this poem because of everything we're talking about. It's called Utilizing Gifts and Talents. Because people, every show I do, people will message me, your guest was incredible. I wish I could write like them. I wish I could sing like them. I wish I could, act like them, whatever it is. And I always tell everybody, you all have something to offer. So
Exactly.
if
Yes.
anybody out there is questioning their self-worth right now, please, please listen to every word of this poem I wrote because I mean it, okay? We are born with talents, we are born with drive, with different gifts to help us thrive. I knew early on I was born to draw and paint, to also write poetry, and to talk without restraint. Our gifts and talents should all be used, God's gift to us, not be abused. We can go far in life for sure, using our gifts to go on tour, like this lady. All our talents should be used to create ourselves and more, but then our job's to share them to even up the score. You see, in life, what's needed is not just for ourselves. Once our gifts are mastered, take them off the shelves. A living we can make by spreading them around, not just for the money, but to spread a peaceful sound. So don't take for granted the gifts you're given. Go out and spread the joy. Our gifts are not to be held back for us to self-destroy. Put your efforts forth. Do not hesitate. All your talents, my friend, are never second-rate. Never hold them back, or you will surely die. Maybe not in body, but your soul will cry. Our gifts were made to share, our talents made to soar. So go through life enlightened, and then you can roar. Be proud of who you are. Be happy you're alive. Once again, my friend, your gifts will help you thrive. Go through life excited for what you sure can give to yourself and others is our reason to live. Our grave will be quite lonely, but our legacy lives on, so make sure people smile with the breaking dawn. By putting efforts forth, not keeping them at bay, your name, Marlyn Bandiero, will live forever, girlfriend, forever and a day.
Thank you. Oh, that's beautiful.
And
Thank
it
you very
will,
much.
and it will. Tell hubby not just his name, honey, yours too.
Oh, oh, thank you. Thank you. That's kind of you.
So, I just wish you the absolute best with everything
Thank
you
you.
do, all your endeavors. What do you have coming up? Anything you're involved in or working on? Any secrets?
Yes, well, we always have secrets. We always have things that we're working on. We are currently working on one of our feature films, especially. We have a director attached. We're in the process of moving that along and getting ready to hopefully go into pre-production with that. And Al has a one-man show
Okay.
that we're putting together in March 9th. It's going to be a fantastic one-man show. He's going to talk about his career as an actor, as a host, a voiceover artist, as a air personality, all his great stories working with people like Stallone and Prince and people like that. It's just going to be amazing. It's going to be a night to remember. So we're going to be putting that on March 9th. And you can go on albandiero.com, and there's more information on that. If you're in the tri-state area, I think that's going to be a great show. So we're putting that on. And I'm already starting, the wheels are starting to turn for book 3. So I'll probably put something together. I've written a treatment for a half-hour animation series based on the books. So I'm going to be speaking with an agent on possibly shopping that around. So we have so much going on. So much going on.
March 9th.
Very exciting.
Where will that be, March 9th?
That will be at I believe it's called the New La Nevis, which is a banquet hall in Haledon, New Jersey.
Wait, in where?
Again, Haledon, New Jersey.
Spell what you're saying. I'm not understanding.
Haledon.
Oh, Haledon. Okay, no.
Haledon,
Okay, because
yeah.
we're in Hamilton. I thought you were saying Hamilton. I was like, wait, what?
No.
So
Haledon.
do me a favor.
Yeah.
Get me that information, okay?
Absolutely.
I'm gonna try and get there.
I will.
Is it open to the
Yeah.
public?
Yes. Well, tickets are limited. So if you want to get tickets, you have to get them as soon as possible.
Yes, send me that info tonight.
Seating. Yeah, we have seating. We also have VIP seating, which will include a meet and greet with Al.
Yes, of course, I'll get
take
that.
Pictures, a whole bunch of stuff.
Yes.
So yeah, I will definitely get that to you.
All right.
So yeah, 2024 is going to be an exciting year for us, I believe. A lot of things are happening. A lot
So
of things are in the works.
that meet and greet doesn't include meeting you.
No, absolutely. You can always meet me.
Okay, so now, is he standing near you? Is he near you?
Yes,
Please
yes,
tell him
he
to
is.
come and say hello on screen. Come on.
They want you to say hello. Come. Hold on.
All
I
right.
got to move everything around so he
All right,
fits.
of course we want him to say hello. How are you?
Well, you have your buds.
Oh, he's got my buds. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm going to give him my buds.
Give
so
it
he
to him
can
for a couple
say.
minutes. All right.
Hello there. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Can you hear me?
I'm doing fine.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. Yeah, you didn't think. I knew she was like looking at you and stuff. I was like, he's getting on here for a couple minutes. Okay. So.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
Yes, and listen, I really want the information for that March show. Okay.
Oh.
Absolutely, because I'm not far. I'm in New Jersey.
Great.
Yep, and meet and greet. Give you a hug, but I just want you to
Yes.
know she's incredible, and the two of you make a great team, and what you're doing,
Thank you.
making
Thank you.
everybody smile. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you. Well, we're the yin and the yang, so I guess that's why we do pretty well. But I take care of certain things. She takes care of other things, and it seems to work out. And I can't do what she does, and vice versa. So I guess it works well.
There you go. There you go. So thank you for honoring me with saying hello. You can give her the earbuds back, and you're awesome.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hold on.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go. Thank you for that, sweetheart. Yeah, he wasn't
you're
getting
welcome.
away with not saying hello. I knew he was near you. So, no, this is awesome. So I'm hoping to meet you in March. My birthday's March 7th, so that'll be a really cool.
Oh,
yes.
there you
yes.
go.
Okay.
That's your birthday present.
gift to
There you go.
myself. Yes.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
all right. You're amazing, and I know
Thank you.
anything else that you do is going to be just as incredible of
Thank you.
what you've
Well,
already done.
You're, from what I know about you, you're pretty amazing too.
Oh.
Let me tell you, I've met people who are recovering, and some are not great. They don't do well, and then there are others like you that are phenomenal, who take those experiences and want to help other people. I admire you. Let me tell you, it's not easy. It's not easy to open yourself up like that. When you do, and you help other people, it's worth it.
Marlyn, thank you for that. I think of addiction and recovery a lot different than most, and that's in my book. And if you give me an address, I will send you a copy. My
Absolutely, I will.
I'm getting my delivery in a few days. I just ordered some more books. I just want to say this because of everything we've been talking about, and I want people to really understand this. I'm not ever going to tell anyone not to go to meetings. If that's your support system, please go. But keep one thing in mind. You are not powerless, not over anything, not over an addiction, not over anything.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
don't feed into that. You're not powerless. All right? I just had to say that. But Marlyn, thank you so much. This
Oh,
is
thank you.
incredible.
Thank you.
I wish you nothing but the best, and I'm hoping to meet you in
Thank you.
March. And you're absolutely beautiful inside and out. And thank you for everything
Thank
that
you.
you've done through Dante.
And please, go to Amazon.
Yep.
Friday, the book will be available. I will also have a Kindle version available a few days later, and a hardcover, but that'll come later on. But for right now, it'll be available in paperback, and the first book is on there too, Dante's Pool Wheels.
Is there anything else you want to leave them with?
Just do it.
I love
Whatever you want to do it.
I
for it.
love you. Did you hear this beautiful lady? Just do it. Just freaking get off your butt and do it, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Marlyn. Doc G, is there anything you'd like to say? He loves you.
Oh, yeah, I
Oh.
love both of them. They're just both amazing. Jimmy Deal's friends, of course.
Yep.
And
Yes. Jimmy's amazing.
We
He's a
love
wonderful
Jimmy.
guy.
Love you, Jimmy.
Love Jimmy.
Marlyn, we just adore everything that you do and everything that your husband does. We
Thank you.
put you guys on high. We really do.
Oh, well, thank you.
So
Thank you very much.
it's a pleasure. It's always a pleasure seeing you, talking to you, and thanks, Jerry, for letting me say hi to her. But yeah, tell Al we said Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and
I
we'll see
will.
you guys in 2024. I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. More conversations for podcast to come.
Absolutely. My door is always open. Absolutely.
Thank you.
So,
Thank
Doc G, take us out, baby. Ta-da.
Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do,
Just what to do, just what to do.
if what you're feeling is really true,
Is it really true? Is it really true?
just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.